Welcome everyone to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudowoodoo45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi. Alex, I feel like you try to change up the cadence of the way you say that every time, because I try to dance to it. But this time, like, you kind of threw it off a little bit. I'm like, I couldn't get it.
Yeah, sometimes I do give a little extra pause here or there in different places just to change it up a bit.
Throw it up, yeah.
I'll tell you when it is. It happens when my brain realizes like what I'm doing, right? Like when my brain drifts away from what I'm saying, is like, oh, you say this the same all the time, then I'm just like, oh, let's change it up.
Gotta throw it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're super excited to be here with you this week. Before we dive in to see what we've done, we're going to stop by Preston's comment corner because I believe he has a comment for us.
A couple comments. I will start off with one from Emily P. They commented when we were talking about the great remakes, but I think we were talking about what we think was going to happen with the state of play at that point. Says, huge
Two
fan.
of us were very right. One of us was very wrong.
One of us was very wrong. It's fine. Devil's advocate. It's fine. Says
you can't call your wrong decisions devil's advocate.
But when I say
walk around life all the time, be like,
no.
Oh, I ran that red light. Nah, I was just playing devil's advocate, please,
check
officer.
the tape.
Yeah.
I explicitly said devil's advocate, but I'm willing to take that out. I don't care. Huge fan of they lost the Bloodborne code theory. I need to torment all of my hardcore FromSoft fans and this immediately. I know. I love the idea that they're just.
It is a good theory,
dude.
It legitimately is.
No other reason.
No reason. I agree.
It'd be crazy if we haven't seen examples of it before already. But again, like a game is never too big to not have its source code lost. Again, Kingdom Hearts, one of the most profitable games in history. It sold $1 bazillion, the first one, and poof, gone, bye-bye, it's disappeared.
And there's no reason why that game hasn't been remade in some fashion or
it was.
Or like
remake was
no. He's talking about Bloodborne.
Okay,
no, Bloodborne. Yeah. There's no reason that hasn't come out in a remake form by now, especially the way Sony likes to work. So it's an amazing theory. It really is.
It's great.
I every day I think I lean more and more to that camp.
Christian's the guy with a sign, like everybody's like telling the FBI, release the UFO tapes, and Christian's like, find the Bloodborne source code.
Yeah, prove to me you have it. Give it to me.
All right, got
prove
two more.
to me you have it. It's actually pretty funny. That should just be
I know.
have that shirt made with a Bloodborne on it.
Show me the code on the back. Yeah.
Show me the code. Yes, hashtag show me the code. That's it.
That's what new t-shirt. One of these days we'll get some shirts going. All right, second comment is from Jake. He commented on part 1 of the Castlevania Symphony of Night Video Game Book Club.
Wait, Preston, are you also going to read his text message? Because I feel like it probably goes hand in hand with whatever.
I don't know. I mean,
here.
I feel like if you wanted to have the text message part in there, it might. I think
fair.
I have a feeling he
fair.
Probably reiterates it in here. I haven't gone back and forth.
Yes, spoilers for everybody. He lights Alex's ass up in our text message chat.
Well, get ready for it because it starts off strong. As far as all of Alex's problems with enemies go, it sounds like, and say it with me, everybody. 1, 2, 3, a skill issue. I'm just kidding. The game is tough. I don't want to talk about your criticisms. I did want to talk about your criticisms with level grinding. I don't know of anybody who really grinds levels in this game. You can grind, but you don't have to. And this game kind of discouraged grinding anyways because the amount of experience you get depends on the level difference of you and the enemy you kill. Also, I disagree with you saying that doing so is pointless. If your con goes up, poison enemies don't hurt you as much, etc. Another reason to grind certain areas is for rare weapon drops. Some of the enemies that are a huge pain in the ass also drop the best weapons in the game. I won't spoil which ones. That's alright, because we've already recorded part 2.
And it's already been deleted. It's already been uninstalled off of my console, deleted from the memory card. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I definitely will be going back. I know you said that the way the game does this is fine, But I think the reason it goes this route over Metroid is that you don't have such a weapon variety in Metroid. You can beat all of Castlevania with a dagger if you're insane, or if you want to. But if you want to try and beat it with 20 different weapons, you can do that, too. It's one of the things I appreciate about Castlevania games. Anyways, I know you guys weren't really dogging on it, but I just wanted to stick up for the game. I'm glad you guys...
Well, two of us weren't.
Well, it says, I know you guys weren't really dogging on it.
It seemed like in his text he felt very personally attacked, and it was not personally attacking.
Well, get ready, because I'm not done this comment yet. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I've loved listening to your experiences. Edit. Because I typed all that with 4 minutes left to go, and Alex decided to roast me, here we go. Maybe your taste in games just sucks. There's no way little baby Jake got excited when the castle flipped. Yes, there is a way. My reaction was, fuck yes, this game that I'm having a lot of fun playing isn't over yet. There's a reason that many people say this is one of the greatest games ever made. If you don't feel that way, maybe it's not the game. Also, calling the bad ending a fine way to end the story is criminal. Ending the Belmont bloodline and letting the baddie go away? Crazy. Thank you, Jake, for the comments. We appreciate that.
I would have to go back and listen because I don't recall roasting him.
You probably joked a little bit here and there. Like,
not gonna say I didn't. Not gonna say I didn't.
It certainly sounds like something you do.
I'm definitely not gonna say I didn't because it does sound like something I have the propensity to do.
It happens, right?
But I don't recall. Luckily, though, Jake is one of the few people that we know that it's all in good fun. Jake loves us. I love Jake. He did go in hard on those text messages, though, which was really fun.
Yeah, you lit your ass up.
Can't wait to see his comments for part 2, the finale.
Same. Fucking me either.
Yeah. Just so everybody has aware, like, it's our comments we get, like, we record on Tuesdays, and those episodes go up Monday and Friday the next week. So some of these can seem a little bit late and dated, but it's, just so you know, we are going after every comment I get on here, as long as it's not like 15 paragraphs of somebody getting mad about Cyberpunk. All right.
Fuck.
Lastly,
also,
okay, go ahead.
So just to respond to Jake really quick, so I understand what you were saying about the, like why it does that versus Metroid.
Sure. I like leveling, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, even like the weapon stuff, right, or like in some of the grinding stuff, I totally think that that's a difference that they were going for. I just think, and this is part of something that I say in part 2, so this will just be come back.
I was going to say, to his credit, he hasn't heard part 2 yet, where we give our general thoughts on the leveling.
It's something that I say there too, but it's just like, I think it helps me appreciate the stuff that I like about Metroid more. Like, I think
your preference.
Because I had not went back and played Castlevania games, I didn't know how they worked really, and so like, I mean, I was aware, but I never like actually put hands on it, and so like to go feel it, it was like, oh, that's the split of that genre, like the same way that like a rogue light versus a rogue like those that split
very
is
similar, but definable differences.
A similar thing where it's just like, man, that's okay. Well, there you go. Like the same way that I prefer like a Hades versus like a what's the one that Dead Cells, like that split right there is to me just as clear for Metroid and Castlevania.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's a really good example because you know me, like I played a ton of Hades. It was one of the things that I always had on my Switch, and I went back to multiple times over the years. I also have Dead Cells, and I came with all the DLC. I got it as a gift, I believe from
There's
Travis
a Castlevania DLC in Dead Cells.
Yeah, and I've played a lot of it, but like my time with it was like power through, get some stuff, and say like, oh, I saw what I needed to see here. It didn't grab me in that same way where like Hades was just
a little more,
over and over and over. So those are good comparisons.
I mean, I definitely like the games as far as Castlevania. In fact, I was kind of looking through.
It's Preston's next tattoo. Symphony of the Night, right across the arm.
It just says, "What is a man?" across my arm.
It's just a broken glass.
Yeah, no, it is too.
What you do is you get like the little waveform tattoos that people can scan,
Oh yeah.
and then it sends you to a voice clip of somebody going, "What is a man?"
What is a man? That's great. But yeah, Jake, if you've played other Castlevania games, Jake, I would love to hear like what your other recommendations are. Obviously, I played one of the Bloodstained
Why?
games.
We're not gonna
I was
play
looking through
anymore.
the ones we had on Steam Deck, and I'm like, I kind of want to just pop one of these in and just fuck around with it for a little bit. And so my curiosity has been piqued for Castlevania.
Jake did today ask us a random question about games that has nothing to do with this podcast, but there was a Castlevania game on
Aria
that list.
of Sorrow is the one that was
there
on
you
that
go.
list. Yeah, so
I've heard that one. I've
Yeah.
heard of Rondo of Blood. I've heard
Rondo
like
of
those
Blood,
ones.
yep.
I've heard. Yeah.
I think the Rondo of Blood one is like the one that happens like right before this one too. Either that or before or after, I can't remember. But it's packaged in the deal
I
with
don't know.
it. Yeah, we never get the bundle.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, Mr. Damien, thank you again for commenting. I want to hear your thoughts on the state of handheld gaming. With the Steam Deck and ROG Ally, Nintendo continuing on track, PlayStation adding support to the Portal with beta cloud streaming, and Microsoft wanting everything under the sun to be an Xbox. Do you think we're going to see some game innovation, meaning beefier hardware to support more graphics, etc.? Take a back seat while the industry develops and markets their handheld variants. Also, more puppy features in future episodes, please. Yes, anytime the dogs are nearby, we will make sure to
I
give them a
I
shot.
think I can answer more that, but just initially, as far as the power of the hardware, we're gonna be at these crossroads soon, where one of two things are gonna happen. Every game is gonna have to be optimized for handheld, or the handhelds are gonna have to be more powerful. Because like Wilds is coming out, you all know, everybody here that listens know, I have a job that takes me away from the house, right? So I rely on my Steam Deck, and Wilds is not gonna run on the Steam Deck. There was at least so far
The beta did not.
the testing,
I will
the
let you
beta
know, did not.
well, and some of the early access copies that people were writing about that they had, it crashes. It can't handle it, right? I know the ROG Ally and
The
stuff.
pain that Alex
does-
felt when that article got dropped.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like, I know that ROG Ally and stuff can do better because it's running full-blown Windows, not having to accommodate, whatever Linux and SteamOS does to the game. But, like,
Kinda.
but it's still not powerful enough, according to that writing, even, that the ROG Ally could handle it either. So, I don't think gamers are going to want the discrepancy of like getting something on a console PC and then having to wait 8 months for it to be optimized for handheld. So something's going to have to happen. Either they're going to be more powerful, or it's just games are going to be optimized earlier.
Preston, can you reread the part where is he saying, I'm just, because I don't have the comment in front of me, is he saying like, are we going to see like beefier hardware or is he saying, are we going to see the beefier like console hardware stuff take a back seat to
I thought his question was just generally how do
better
you
handhelds?
see...
I'm trying to remember how it's...
I thought it was just how do you see the general state of handhelds now?
To
and do you think
reiterate,
we'll see beefier hardware? Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see some game innovation, meaning beefier hardware to support more graphics, take a back seat while the industry develops and markets their handheld variants?
Oh,
Right.
Gotcha.
So-
okay.
I misinterpreted
So-
that one. Gotcha.
My thought on that is, take a look at this. For example, Alex, how does Space Marine 2 work on Steam Deck?
Good now.
Yeah, with some fiddling. So like everything runs on low, where
Sure.
everything right, and I can do up to a certain level of difficulty, right? Because of the hardware.
The more
there is
enemies and stuff
there
like
is
that.
it-
Yeah. The
well, and
performance changes.
there's input lag sometimes. So
Sure,
like I can't
okay.
go beyond like ruthless, and honestly, that's kind of pushing it sometimes because I'll miss dodges and I'll die and I'll hold people back. So
Yeah.
there are sacrifices I make. I change what I'm gonna play, but it does look good and it does run well.
So that was not the case
certain play
when it
styles.
first came out. Because I tried to play
yeah,
Space
no, it
Marine
didn't
2
run
when it
at
first
all.
came out, and you couldn't do it even on low quality. You couldn't do it. So these
Couldn't
cloud
even launch
companies,
it at first.
yeah, I'm sure like some of these companies that are putting things in the pipeline for PC are going, okay, we need to make it somewhat accessible for Steam Deck. Like have it to where lower quality of graphics, things like that, to where you will be able to dump it down to a lower setting to be able to handle it on a Steam Deck. But that also can be done later on. Just like Space Marine, it's getting better the more time it has, the better they can. And then you'll have, for example, like what Alex said, like the harder difficulties, the things that like matter more when it comes to latency and movement and just the fact that you might want to see it look a lot better. That's just going to be the fighting struggle we'll see here. As far as your question right there, I don't think that these guys are going to take a backseat as far as stopping the main heavy hitters like your graphics card developers, your console makers like PlayStation and Microsoft. That's not going to stop them. But you will see more of the like ROG Ally types, like being able to put out beefier. Because even like Steam said that they're not like doing a Steam Deck 2 anytime soon. They're going to
So what they did is they licensed it to the next Legion Go, right?
Yep, to where other companies can go ahead and say, yes, they're going to put our Steam OS on here, whatever that is, and they're going to make beefier hardware so that way you'll be able to play it better. But yeah, I don't think that the main industry is going to be holding back.
I don't know, man.
If Microsoft does stop, I don't think the handheld will be the reason they stop. They've wanted out of the game, the hardware game, for a while.
So I think, so I'm actually going to go a different way with it. I think we are going to. I think we will see some of that stuff sort of fall back, only because not because the industry wants it to happen, but because they're doing it to themselves already. So like we have issues right now. The graphics card market is not looking great. We're probably a couple weeks away from AMD releasing whatever their next thing is. And who knows?
Nvidia's like losing their minds over their GPU
so like
problems.
That's what I was gonna get to. But like so AMD, we're 2 weeks away from AMD's like response basically to Nvidia. I could be totally off base on this, and AMD could come out and fucking blow everybody's pants off, and it could be the coolest thing ever, and everybody could go, we're switching to AMD next generation. We don't care. Everybody's switching, and that could be the case. Historically speaking, AMD usually is like they'll come in right around the same performance metrics as Nvidia, but then they'll be either a little bit more expensive or a little bit too more like expensive, or maybe same price, but then they're missing a feature, like they don't have ray tracing, right? Like AMD cards still don't support that, and so like
do they not really?
They do, but it's not in the way that it's not like it's just not as good. Like and that's kind of your trade off, right? Is you're saying like. But they have a fuck ton of VRAM, right? So like as opposed to like a 12 gigabyte VRAM for Nvidia, the next one of the AMD cards has like 30 gigs, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome, but now I'm missing out on this particular visual feature. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't care, then sweet, right? But whatever, like if you're somebody who needs ray tracing or you think it adds value, then it's important to you, then that could be a thing. But either way, that's typically what AMD does. So, but right now, if you look all across the internet, the overall impressions for the new 50 series cards is do not go near them at all. Like, there is no reason to buy them. They suck. Like, the cost
they're burning up power supplies.
Yeah, they're setting computers on fire. Yeah. The cost benefit analysis is awful compared to the 40 series cards. The whole
Quit
AI
trying to tell me that frame generation is like as good.
The AI frame generation stuff is such bullshit. There's so much like artifacting and ghosting and haloing effects all over everything that you use them for. Like there was a place for anybody who wants to go deep dive into the hardware stuff like I do because I'm a psychopath. Gamers Nexus, Steve has like crazy ass good write-ups. He's the best place for this stuff. It's like him and Digital Foundry, in my opinion. But he does a comparison with Final Fantasy 16 because that's a game that one looks very pretty and two has strict-ish input requirements, right, to like make sure that you don't do things or mess things up. And there's so many issues he runs into with that game using that frame generation stuff. So there's that. I think on the console side, right, like there's so many games, we still have to deal with quality versus performance mode. Mm-hmm. Like there is not a game, even a game that we are all stoked about, Monster Hunter Wilds on console, you still, if you want a stable 60 FPS, you have to choose performance mode.
Quality doesn't matter.
Quality doesn't matter. If you want to play in 30, then you can play in quality. But other than that, and even then in quality mode, most of the time you're not even getting a true native, 4K experience, whatever. It's getting upscaled after the fact, and you're getting like a 1440p, whatever. And so it's like, dude, at a certain point, like it's clear that the industry has no desire to slam more hardware into a solution. because it would end up costing so much that you aren't going to have anybody buy it. And then when a company like Nvidia tries to cut corners to make their product cheaper, it also gives everybody a worse experience. And so I think that just by virtue of the decisions that this industry is making, I feel like you are going to see people take a step back and then be like, you know what? I think from a graphical fidelity perspective, we're good.
They're already going to take a step back on that and just work on performance because it's just how
We need-
Well, they
how much
said
more
that-
ray tracing can you put into something? Like where we go from there?
Well, they
Like, look at
also
a
said
game-
that like we can't keep making $500 million
Also
plus
that.
dollar games, right? Which
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
only thing you get out of that budget is fidelity that nobody
Right.
benefits from anyway. So
And nobody cares. Like, dude, we're
Yeah.
looking at game. We're talking about a game that's, you know, still, it's a few years old now at this point. But think about Final Fantasy 16, dude. That game's still gorgeous. Like,
well, and think about
and when the three of us were playing through that game,
Yeah.
not a single one of us looked at the screen and said, "This could look better."
no, and think about Preston too in another Final Fantasy game in 7, right? Like we know how good it looks on PlayStation, but Preston has spent half of his time playing the game on Steam Deck, right? Like because the
Well
way we
over,
want to
yeah.
play, people are willing to make sacrifices, and the sacrifice they make is the fidelity side of things
Yeah.
to get the
Look
gaming
on
experience
screen,
they want.
the fucking size of a cell phone, like
Uh-huh.
it's you don't.
I do the
need
same
that
with
much.
Space Marine, right? Like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
here to
because
play.
I want to play the way I want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same. Like, we'll talk about it in my week, but with Trails, like I played 60% of that game was played on my Steam Deck.
Get out of
Because-
here, really?
Yeah, dude. Yes.
All right.
Like, because
I'm
it's
surprised.
just it to me is an easier, more enjoyable way to play. Like, I can walk out to the living room, have my Steam Deck, toss the basketball game on, toss the soccer game on
Hang out
now,
with the wifey, yeah.
whatever I want. Yep, hang out with the wife, and I'm chilling, and I can have my game going, and it's way easier. Like, it's a better experience. I hope that we see more people taking that avenue seriously.
Take the time to tune it, just to make a setting or something like that allows you to do it on these handhelds that are coming out. Because honestly,
Yeah.
Steam Deck, it's not like it's a super low performing motherfucker. Like you can play most, like 2/3 of Baldur's Gate 3 in that
Yeah.
shit. Like until you get to the last act, like
Well, now with
You
the
can play the whole
optimization,
thing.
it's
now
it's,
you do the whole
it's
thing. Yeah,
thing.
so it's
Yep.
there's almost like no excuse to certain, but you can definitely tell the quality drop 100%. Like when you're looking at that, I could notice it when I played it, but at a certain point, it doesn't care because it's such a good game. I mean, you don't mind a little bit of
I
quality
mean,
drop.
to be honest, yeah, I'm over, like, I'm just over fidelity. I just don't care. Like,
And there's, yeah, go ahead.
I'm way more concerned with stability and performance and playability. Like, I'm not. Your game could be native 4K and be the most pretty thing ever, but if it's run at 15 FPS, I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I
mean,
just don't. It's not an enjoyable experience to play.
There's certain games like look at all of Microsoft's cloud stuff. I mean, obviously it depends on the game that you're playing. You're not going to play Halo multiplayer like that, but like I can play Indiana Jones on the cloud on my Steam Deck, and it still looks gorgeous. And I don't
Yeah.
see any type of performance drop at all. And it's just that cloud gaming. It just looks so good to where it doesn't matter what you're playing on, as long as you got a stable internet connection.
Yep.
There's something I really enjoy about the handheld experience now too, beyond just like the way you play, as Christian, you were just saying, but like for us, I built a PC. Christian, you built your PC, and so on. Preston, you have
Alex built my PC
built PC
for himself and gave it to me.
But like, I've been able to change, like, put skins on the Steam Deck. I've been able to customize the way I want. I bought, off a very short conversation Christian and I had the other day, I bought some Hall Effect joysticks for the Steam Deck. I'm waiting for those to come in. Like, there's fun stuff you can still do that take that handheld gaming experience even further, right? Like, it's still fun to play and fun to
Yeah.
have, but then you can even do fun stuff. Now, I'll be at the Portal. I get it, can't do that because Sony get a Sony, but still, like, I don't know. There's a fun little niche.
Sony is gonna Sony.
I know. There's a fun little niche, like, itch that those handheld gaming experiences
Yeah.
provide that I really enjoy. On top of
I even
speaking
think
of
to some extent, I even think like the limitations of the port, you still get some of that with the Portal, right? I mean, like if you're traveling and your PS5 is on, like, and you can connect and you have a good enough internet connection, like, dude, you still get the same itch. Like, it's, hey, I'm playing my games on the go, which is what people want.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, good comment. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All of you.
all of you, except for you, Jake Dumpster.
I appreciate you, Jake.
All right. Well, if you guys don't care, I'll dive into my week because I have one game. As we all know, in preparation to Tedward.
Horrible dog.
Little bug eyes.
I know. I love, like, he has the same thing Bash has, where, like, you can't really put your arms together, so when he lays on the floor, it's kind of like splay.
Him and Teddy both have the thing where they both look like they're looking in two different directions.
The fish eyes, yeah.
Same type of dog, man. Mine's just a little bigger, so
Yeah.
he's
Pretty much.
because he's a mutt. Anyway, I've only played one game in preparation for Wilds I need to finish, which is Space Marine. I was able to 100% Space Marine. Woo,
There you go. Woo, woo, woo.
So I got it. All my characters are max level. Did all the achievements. Now I'm just playing for me to do in-game stuff that doesn't matter. Like, I'm to the point now where I'm about to finish, like, tonight. I have to do one thing, and I'll there's these data vaults they've unlocked in the last patch. They were like, hey, we needed to add, also, if you hear music in the background, Preston, while you're editing this, listeners, if you hear this, it's work stuff. It'll stop in a second doing demo.
Okay.
I just heard it. But they added this in-game data stuff where that's where they tie these in-game achievements to, and there's 4 categories. And tonight I will finish off 3 out of 4. But I'm at this place where it's like, I'm fine to put it down now. Once WoW comes out, whatever, like, I am at a good spot with myself with Space Marine where I can move on and play other stuff when I'm home, apparently, because the Lord in heaven just didn't want me to be able to play this game on the road, which is an asinine thing, because I'm going to be traveling for like 3 straight weeks. And it is bonkers that I can't play this game.
That doesn't bode well for you.
Got to pack up the PC, buddy.
No. That's impossible. I wonder
I'm
if
not waiting.
it'd be easier to buy a Portal and just buy a second time on PlayStation.
There's crossplay.
That's insane.
Or just buy it on
Do
PlayStation.
that. I know it doesn't. The save doesn't transfer over, or does it?
It's not cross save?
Is it?
I know it's crossplay. I don't know about cross save.
Well,
Google
that'll
it.
be something I'll be googling as somebody.
Hold
else is
on,
talking.
I'll
Just
look it up.
Google
Keep
it.
talking.
No, I mean that's honestly that's all that I had. We are only a few days away from Wilds. I am very excited to play it. I will be playing most of the day Friday, maybe all of the day, but I think Allie roped us into a birthday housewarming thing on Friday. Yeah, roped me because she came home. And she's like, "Hey, we have this. Like, are you okay with that?" And I was like,
cross
"Well,
save.
No cross save.
Crossplay though. They got crossplay.
makes that decision easy."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I mean, Friday's the launch of the game, and I was gonna.
It's kinda my
birthday
weekend,
I was just
yeah.
gonna do nothing but that." But she said only on Friday. She tried to schedule me on something on Saturday, and I cried a little bit. It was like, "But it's my birthday," and she's like, "Fine, you don't have to." So,
There you go.
that's what I'll be doing this week. I'll get really far ahead for Christian, so then he can play without me and catch up.
I mean, I'm gonna be playing all weekend, so
Yeah, I'll be there Friday and most of Saturday, and then I'll be gone the rest of the weekend.
sure.
I'll be there Friday. Well, and then most of Friday night I won't be able to, but
Oh, that works.
We'll need a break anyway. It's fine.
That works. That works then.
Alex is like, you'll need a break.
That's
good.
true. I could.
He'll be like, it's like that
I'll
thing where it's
log
like,
in.
you guys can't order that many breadsticks. That it's like, you can't order that many breadsticks. I will bankrupt this Olive Garden.
So, side note, soccer season has started.
Yeah.
It did.
And we have new seats this year, so I don't think I sent you a photo of them, but we are 2 rows. We're in the second row from the field, but we're right by the corner flag. Great seats, but we're close enough to yell things at people,
Sure.
right? My favorite type of banter and sports roasting isn't like, oh, this person sucks or whatever. It is the benign things that are ridiculous and don't make sense to make you giggle. So one of the guys, Pierce, came to take a corner where they were Montreal's playing Atlanta, and I stand up, right before he goes to kick, and it's not that loud, and I just yell, Pierce goes to Olive Garden for the salad, right?
Sure.
It's just random
goofy
stuff.
yeah.
Like, so-and-so puts on his pants both legs at a time. Like, you wear socks with sandals, that sort of stuff. So I'm very excited soccer is back. I was yelling. You couldn't hear me on the broadcast. You could see me standing up yelling occasionally. And then during halftime, they zoomed in right on our seats. They were not talking about us. They just happened to zoom in like right there for whatever reason as they were like panning around the crowd. And Allie and I were away getting a beer in the bathroom. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that brings up a point that this is the reason that I have been, I always will be, and I will die one, a Chicago sports fan.
Okay.
And it's because the experience that you get at a Chicago sporting event is just so much different than other cities. Like, you were telling all the wholesome things that you were yelling at those seats, and it's like, or just funny, benign, whatever.
Soccer
and I know you guys get right. I'm not saying
no. I was saying soccer in general actually isn't that bad because at least where we are, because it is a family sport, right? Like there's a lot of kids.
Sure.
So it's soccer does not get that bad where we are.
Again, that's where I'm talking is the difference. There are
we're the South, man. We're the Bible Belt.
There are many
girls and...
many families at the Chicago Fire Stadium. Like, it is not a bunch of just single people. It is, as a matter of fact, I would argue that there's probably more families at that event than just non-children having fans, because not only it's you are giving this to your child. You are like, no, this is what you are. And like, I still remember within the first 5 minutes of the first Chicago Fire game I went to was this guy who had a wad, just tons of money in his hand, and he's at the seats that you're describing, but that first row, so like right where you can reach down and grab some fucking grass if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at the refs, and he's waving the money in their face, and he's like, hey, asshole, how much does it take to get a good fucking call? What do you need? How much? You just name the price, and I'll give it to you. And he's like, please, I'm begging you. And he's like doing this, yelling at players. I mean, not our players, of course, but the opposing team. It was Cincinnati at the time, telling them all sorts of lovely things about themselves. And... I don't know. It's just so funny hearing the split there, because it's just
we're not bad.
Chicago, well, but I don't think we're bad. I think that if here's what I've said. Chicago sports fans are obnoxious when we lose, and even more obnoxious when we win. And the people who play for our teams, you will always hear people be like, oh no, this city's the best, the fans are the best, blah blah blah. Because we don't do the Philly or the New York thing where we're shitty to our own team.
Yeah, you won't turn on everybody.
No, like you have to be legendarily bad for our fans to turn on you, like a Rex Grossman level of bad. Like, you just have to perform horribly for years in a row, and people will finally be like, okay, let's boo this guy. Like, I'm not having a fun time. But before that, like, it could be, doesn't matter. Like, any level, as long as you guys are out there and playing, doing your thing, there is not a single team that would be like, oh yeah, our fans are the worst. But opposing teams are like, oh yeah, I hate going there. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, they're really mean to us. I was like, yeah, we are. That's fair.
Yeah. No, we get loud, but it's not bad. We were walking out at the game, and somebody was kind of like, Saturday night quarterbacking, right, what they would have done, and they dropped an F-bomb, and there was a little kid walking with his dad. The little kid turns around like, oh, sorry, sorry. And the dad turns around, and he's like, I mean, I know where I brought him. It is what it is. Like, you're not going to make it out of here. But, like, that's the sort of thing you get. It's not like on the field, and honestly, I've seen the situation where, like, people have been yelling at refs or players on the field, like, really cursing and other stuff, and people turn around. Like, that aren't even with a group, like, just, a guy and their wife, and they'll turn around, or a significant other, they'll turn around and be like, dude, kids, like, watch your mouth, right? They kind of police each other. But again, we're in the Bible Belt where there are more Christian and country stations than anything else.
Dude, that makes me so irritated because it's like you brought your child to a public sporting event. You didn't bring them to Sunday church. Grow up. Like I don't have to. I don't have to, unless I'm being belligerent. Like if I'm throwing things or being stupid or whatever. But if I'm causing a danger to people around me, absolutely, you're in the wrong. Whatever. If I'm getting lippy with $1 million athletes and the refs that are fucking causing me to have a bad time, shut up. Don't fucking talk to me. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anybody. All I'm doing is yelling at Mr. $2 million a year over there to kick the ball better. Shut up. Don't fucking... I don't want to hear about it. Don't talk to me. I would immediately get into it. Now, in general, obviously know where you're at. Like, know your surroundings. Sure. That being said, I'm just saying, I think it's silly to bring kids to an event like that and then being like, oh my god, we're hearing curse words, and it's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're in public. Good job.
You're getting around a bunch of. You're at a place. It'd be like. It's like when I see people bring their kids to a bar in the middle of the day to get food, but it's still a bar, and so they're like, man, can you believe all the drunk people around here? It's like, well, it's a bar, so.
Kind of what happens, yeah.
Yep.
So
I sure can.
To an adult,
they sell alcohol here. That's their whole point, is to get people drunk and then send them home.
Yeah.
All right, what do you... the pearl clutching just really sends me over the edge.
I mean, you know where I live.
I know.
Side note, this last thing I'll say about the soccer game is that Atlanta's thing, their, like, pre-game ritual is they carry down a big railroad spike, bunches of people carry down the railroad spike and they set it down and they hit it and do ATL. They hit 3 times. That's how they kick off the game, and they usually bring somebody out to do it, right? The cool thing is, because we live in Atlanta and we have Trilith Studios, which are all the movie studios down here, we get random celebrities to do it. So this week David Harbour came out to hit the spike, and it was just a big pop off. We're all because usually it's local singer or significant person, whatever, and they're like David Harbour, and everybody's drinks in hand, just having oh shit, that guy from Stranger Things and the terrible Hellboy movie, which I'm sure one person knew, and so on.
It was you. You were the one person.
Me. I was the one. It was fun. It was funny though.
Yeah, the Chicago Fire pregame one is they bring somebody out and they have a fire axe and they smash a a safety glass thing, and then they ring the fire alarm, and then it sets the whole thing up.
That's
the flamethrowers go off, and
fire axe is pretty dope.
Yeah.
One of these days we can talk about the worst ones, Columbus. I'm looking at you with your fucking jackhammer.
Yeah, I agree. Columbus is the worst.
Columbus is the worst.
Yeah, they suck.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We're done talking about sports, Preston. Sorry.
Okay, I can listen now.
Yeah, I know. He's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna disassociate, and then his eyes go sideways, and he's just like, I'm gone.
It's just dead eyes.
I'll go next because I only got one unit to talk about too. Sure. I beat Trails, everybody.
Hey,
God, you did.
You powered it.
I did.
Wow.
Everybody said that it wasn't possible.
I don't think anyone said that.
You,
nobody.
It is.
Yeah, we know that. We know what's happening.
Clocked in at a gentleman's 65 hours.
Wow. A week. You did it a week.
Week and a half.
Okay. Some would argue you don't really have a job. I don't know who those would be, but.
It certainly shouldn't be you, considering that you benefit off the same.
I would not argue that. I'm saying some would say. Not me.
You mean our wives?
I'm just
Well, I would sell to them the same thing that we do tell them, which is mind your business.
Bills getting paid, ain't they?
Yeah. Work still gets done. Don't worry about that. Anyways, I finished it. Honestly, most of it did not come during a whatever you want to call it. Most of it was nighttime Steam Deck, which is what I was talking about. Most of it was played on my Steam Deck. There's nothing I can say about it for obvious reasons. It's the 12th. How we counted last time. It's whatever.
Was this the tie-up of all those other games, or the new story after a
This is the 2 towers of the new story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we've got one more called.
2 more after that.
The subtitle for the next one is called "Farewell, O Zamuria," which is the name of the continent or whatever.
That's
Kind
not
of.
out, right? Because you're finally on day and date.
That is
with
out in Japan.
Oh, I thought you finally were.
I thought so too. I was wrong. So this is
Okay.
that one's out in Japan. That one will be coming out here next year, and then to the director's thing, he said that after that game, so right now for them, they've got 2 to 3 more before it's completely done. So that's it.
Sure.
It'll be over. So very much approaching the end.
How old
if-
is that director? I mean, because that's still, 3 games? You're probably investing 6 years in the next
Probably
6
got another
years.
arc
so-
in mind. He's like, I'm probably gonna get 2 or 3 games out of this arc in my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at that, you're like, oh, that's not that many, 2 or 3 games, not that bad. But this is a multi-year
60
time
to
investment
100
per
hour game,
game, and
Koji Kondo is wait, nope. Wrong one.
that's the wrong one.
Toshihiro Kondo is the one I'm looking for.
Okay.
He was born in 1975. And he has
His
been
voice.
on all of the Yeast games and all of the Trails games.
So he's
That is-
only. This isn't only to say he's only in his 50s, but if you're talking another 6 or so years for those games, I mean, you're retirement age, right?
Yeah.
Go enjoy your time.
He started at Falcom in 1998.
Nice.
So
Nice.
he's been there for a little bit. And yeah, in that time he's been working on Yeast, and Yeast was started before him, obviously, but he's been working on a ton of those, and then obviously every single one of the Trails games is your boy right there. So yeah, he said that he's got 2 or 3 more left in the tank, and then that'll be it, man. We just won't get any more. So I don't know. But
Until he dies and Falcom decides it's not in bad taste to bring it back.
I mean, they're
yeah,
already
honestly,
starting.
I think you'd see them. What they're gonna do instead is they'll just make money off of remaking the Sky games and the Crossbell games, and that'll last them long enough. And then by that point, it'll be this game probably makes them a nice pretty penny because the development cost is probably non-existent. And they're also staggered releases, right? So you're getting a domestic release for them in Japan, and then they're doing worldwide the next year, and it just keeps snowballing from there. So I think they probably have a similar sort of profit structure like Sega does with the Yakuza series, where RTG just keeps printing those fucking games every year, and it just keeps making money. But yeah, no, finished it. It's great. Nothing I can say about it. Everything would be a spoiler. I think that they handled. The only thing I think I said was that there's some time travel stuff in this one, or some timeline shenanigans, and I was nervous about that because it's really hard to stick the landing on that. I think they do a good job. I think that by the end of it, it doesn't feel like. It doesn't feel like it was for nothing, right? Like a lot of times it'll be like, okay, we've reset everything back to 0 and we figured it out and we're good and nothing bad is going to happen anymore. And you're like, okay, but then what was the point of me doing this? Like, you could have just not done this story. But different things happen, sets up a nice little cliffhanger for the next one. So yeah, well, we'll see. I'm excited to see what they do with the next one, and much like Alex, that's it, man.
Okay. We're getting ready for Wilds, man. This is going to be a short week because we're all just kind of putzing
Yeah.
around, doing
Holding
little things
pattern.
to fill our time.
I got
until that
Friday
happens.
off. Preston's got it. Alex, I think, has it. Yeah,
I'm
so
going to get myself some Starbies. I'm going to be sitting here at this desk.
bright and early, and we are the 3 of us are going to be the 3 Musketeers again. We're going to be in there, so I'm stoked. So that's it, man. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Same thing with me, just kind of dabbling in the games. I was looking around at the Castlevania games we had on the Steam Deck, or Steam Library, family share plan. Kind of see if I want to eyeball and mess around with one of those. I might mess around with Bloodstain instead, because I haven't played the second one. But what I actually played was some more Crisis Core Reunion. That dialogue is just still absolutely bullshit garbage. Like, it's bad writing, it's bad voice acting, but also bad timing with everything. Because, like, they'll go, wait, what did you say? And they'll turn, and they'll look over a little bit, and they'll position their characters' bodies all awkwardly and stilted. And then they'll continue on with the dialogue. And there's been plenty of times to where, like, Zach will say something like, are you serious? Like, what do you mean? And it'll zoom out. It'll kind of do a little bit of a pan. And it looks like they're both talking to each other. Him and the other character are talking to each other. And it zooms back in. And he just continues on with whatever dialogue he was going with. I'm like, what are we even doing this for? Like, there's absolutely no reason for that to happen. It's just, everything is just stilted. I'm like, man, maybe if, like, we'll get to the point to where he meets Aerith, and, like, maybe they'll be kind of cute, and, like, we can have this kind of small little part in the slums. When Zack falls down from the plate area, he falls into the church, he meets Aerith for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, maybe the writing will be a little better here. I'm like, nope. This is going to be the whole game, isn't it? So, I'm enjoying...
No, Zack's character changes, but it's after... You'll know the event that it changes.
Okay, I think it's coming up. Because right now we're all chasing after Genesis. We're at the Shinra building now. I'm about chapter 5, which is close to the halfway mark. There's 10 chapters. So I'm going through it. It looks gorgeous, like all like the summons and all like the extra attacks and battles you can do with that. It's a lot of fun. It looks great. It's a lot of start and stop. It's like, oh, you walk up to this spot.
Genesis is such a fucking...
It's a bad. So like you walk up and 2 or 3 enemies spawn up. You defeat it, like, oh yeah, whatever is clear. I'm like, okay, cool. You walk up through a hallway, get to another spot, pops up again, 3 more enemies. I'm like, okay. And that's pretty much all combat.
I mean, that's a PSP game. But
that's what I was gonna say. Is like this game, like even though they remastered and remade it to make it look super fucking good looking, it is a remake and it looks great, but it's still that same PSP game, man. Like you can tell, like it just wears it on its shoulder. The way you jumping through missions, like you're going on the main set track of missions, but when you get to the save point, you can press the little mission button and go and do the other missions, and it just teleports you to whatever small little area you're gonna do 2 or 3 battles on, and teleports you right back out, and you're right back to where you're at. But it's
Alex,
1000% PSP game.
You don't know this character. Preston's experiencing him for the first time.
Sure.
And so Genesis is another
Soldier.
Sephiroth-like soldier who had like a bunch of Mako pumped into him and is, like super, super powerful, whatever. And his shtick, if you could believe it from Nomura, is that every single time he comes into frame or is there, he is usually always quoting a line of poetry.
Like Loveless or something like that? Like
which
some
is the in-universe,
yeah.
the in-universe version of like a Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
amazing.
Imagine... Oh, it's something.
If you thought the just normal dialogue was bad, just wait till you have someone quoting fake Shakespeare.
Is it...
Yeah,
so,
it's
so
crazy
it is,
because...
Is it actually Shakespeare, or is it like Shakespeare? Like, is it
no,
just...
it's Loveless, who is the 7 universes version of Shakespeare.
Yes. Right. So... Right, exactly.
It's very close,
unfortunately,
but it's
it's kind of poorly written.
It is like
poetry.
It is like somebody explained Shakespeare's writing to Nomura, and then this was his opinion
version
of Shakespeare.
It's not great.
Take that however you want to take that, but that's what it is.
I'm only playing it because the combat's not bad. And I am getting a little bit of world building on like Soldier and all that stuff. It's just really super goofy. Like when you're just hanging out and you're going to the office to talk to like the boss about like what your next mission is, and Sephiroth is just chilling over there on the side, arms crossed, being like, "Yeah, I guess we'll go and do it. Not a big deal." Because he's not like super pissed off at Shinra yet. He's just another really super strong soldier. He's considered the hero of the land areas at this point.
Yeah, the thing is that in this moment, Sephiroth doesn't even know about himself.
Oh, I'm at a part to where it's like, Sephiroth went to the data core area. He's doing some research on Shinra's past. I'm like, okay, so this is where he's going to find out a whole bunch of shit and get really pissed off. Okay, this is where that happens.
Yeah. There's some stuff that happens there. But yeah, in the beginning part, it is like Sephiroth is like seen as like this giant hero that
Mm-hmm.
walks around and is very cool and everyone, but Sephiroth is also normal. Like
He's got
he's not like
friends
shitty.
in Soul.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
a
not
couple
like
guys
him and
he hangs out
Genesis are homies. Like him and Genesis hang out.
with.
He's cool
Angela,
with
whatever his name
Angeal.
is, Angeal, yeah.
Yeah, Angeal, and so he's like, "Yo, yeah, these are my homies. Like we kick it. Like that's straight
You
up."
and Zach are the little new up and comer. Yeah, kind of
Yep.
going with them. So it's just it's interesting world building. I'm getting through it. But yeah, halfway through that, I'll probably stick with it to the end.
It doesn't sound that interesting.
I think that
Interesting
it is,
enough.
Yeah, I think that there's stuff there that I think is interesting for like it's not I think it loses its place in the new remake era.
But there is
Right.
like him and Aerith's like relationship, how they met and stuff like that. Like there are
Yeah,
some
which I think
things there.
that's which is why I think they re-released it, right? But I think
Yeah.
if you take yourself back to that when Crisis Core came out, right? You had original 7 and then that was it. Like
Crisis
it was
Core, yeah.
that was it. And so then Crisis Core comes out, and now as a fan of Final Fantasy VII, you are given a prequel game, and you're like, damn, like now I'm getting all sorts of information on characters and things that I only had a passing glance
You heard
at
somebody talk about it.
beforehand,
Yeah.
right? Like what?
Yeah.
I get to see Sephiroth's origin story, like sign me the fuck up. I know that character. Like, I want to go see that. And not to mention the fact that, you know, you're seeing a game that, for the time on the PSP, was very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I can see that easily, yeah, for sure.
like you were not getting that kind of quality, you know, game every day on the PSP. Like, it was definitely pushed the limits of that little guy. I think now, when we're in a post, like, extended universe thing, it loses its, like, you know, pop, because you have Advent Children now, you've got fucking Dirge of Cerberus, you've got the
Remake
fucking
and Rebirth, yeah.
remake and rebirth, you've got all that shit. Like, there's just so many things that are, you have the fucking comics and like all the other shit. Like, that extended universe is so fucking big now that the idea of a prequel game is like, yeah, okay, there's, but like, you know, back then it was like it was a
deal.
big pop off.
Oh, for sure. Other than that, the only game I really played was some more Redout 2. Still loving the shit out of that game. A lot of fun, super fast-paced action. Finally got to a point in it to where I'm almost done with the B class. So it starts off, you got like trials and training. You got a couple missions there. But then you go through the classes. And B class is like the lowest one you start off at. I'm almost done with that section. There's a lot like tracks and races that you go through, variants of that. I think they said there's like 10 tracks in there, or 10 locations, if you will. Track variants within those locations, and then they have reverse versions of those, which I fucking hate reverse tracks. Reverse tracks are not made to be a good racing track. They're like, oh, we got a good racing track, let's do it backwards. And you're like, no, I don't.
No.
It doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work very well. Sometimes it's all right, sometimes it's not. But right now, like, I'm in this like mine area to where it's like all this lava and stuff. These big, giant, cool looking statues are around, but they have all these jumps. And because you have full control of your ship when it comes to like tilting and stuff like that, and you can use boost to kind of like, if you aim yourself, you can get a little further. That is kind of where I'm working on my skills as far as getting that down, because I still can't. Sometimes they're off a little bit to the side. You got to maneuver yourself. And mine are the ones that are a little bit further away that you can't just go just by going fast and going forward. You have to like tilt your craft a little bit at an angle up and then hit your turbo boost, so that way it pushes you just a little bit further and gets you just a little bit more air for some of those. But other than that, I'm loving the hell out of that game. Super having a good time. But it's a great game for if I just want to sit down and do a little bit of something. You know, got a couple minutes here and there, or just got an hour left at the end of my night and I don't want to dive into something super big. I can dive into this, have something on the background. It's been great for that.
Nice.
Watching more of the Castlevania show. I had borrowed my sister's Netflix for a little bit, but you know how they do the whole traveling thing and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck that. I'll either do just a month and binge it, or I checked on, you know, the digital stores. There's a bundle for everything, including the Nocturne ones, for like $25. I'm like, fuck that. Yeah, I'm just gonna buy everything for $25, and I'll just watch it at my leisurely pace. But I'm almost done with season 2.
What store?
Well, Fandango. Voodoo. It used to be called Voodoo. It used to be UV Blue. It's where
I didn't realize that because it's a Netflix original, so I'm surprised they still
I
have
checked it just in case, but I know that some of those shows that they have out there, especially when they're done, they usually just release them digitally to other places for people who don't have Netflix, but they can still technically give Netflix money by buying those sets. And I would much rather pay.
I bought Arcane. They released that to the iTunes store, and it's a Netflix original.
Yeah, they'll still release them separately.
They realize they can make more money eventually off of somebody buying that season than them not subscribing to watch it. So,
I could put probably costs about $25 just to get a month out of Netflix anyways right now with like having ad free or whatever like that. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pay $25 and I get 5-6 seasons of Castlevania. Fuck yeah. And I'll have it there to watch whenever I want to now, no matter what services I pay for at that time.
Better deal than the
much better
prices
deal
that these places are.
Yeah.
One day, and I swear we can bleep this out if we have to, but one day, mark my words,
Plex.
I will make good on my threat, and I will download the internet, and then I will put it on a Plex server, and I will retire to a mountain home where no one can find me.
Yeah, just watch it all there.
I don't think you have to edit that out. That's.
But lastly, I did want to kind of leave this for the very end. I did hang out with a sister and we went to go see Captain America: Brave New World. So I kind of want to give a little bit of a spoiler cast with me and Alex because I know Christian doesn't give a fuck.
I don't.
So if we want to kind of just. You talked about it a little bit, Alex. I mean, I don't really want to go through like all the story beats and shit like that, but just how we felt without worrying about spoilers and like that. We will mention spoilers if we want to. So anyone who hasn't seen it and doesn't want to be spoiled on Captain America: The New Movie, aka Hulk 2, feel free to check out right now and come back and listen to it at the very end of this episode when you do watch it. So I know you were kind of like meh on it, like it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but one thing that you had.
I think he hated it.
He hates a strong word. It just was meh. All right.
I was not.
You didn't like the CG especially?
Well, so there were a lot of things I didn't like about it. Christian is right, because I did bitch about it.
I remember him saying the words when I got on the Discord call with him was, I think that movie sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have. So I had a lot. Yeah, here's the thing. I wanted to like it so much because as Sam and Anthony Mackie in general, but like I really like him as an actor. I really like him as a character. I think him taking on the Captain America mantle, totally good with it, right? Like I know there's whatever issues you may have. I like it. I'm fine. Give me the woke nonsense. I love it. Yeah. But that actually was part of the problem. So like I thought there were times where they wanted to touch on him being black, right? Which they did in the show, and
more so in the show, yeah.
Let me actually say two things. One, I feel like they redid some of what they did in the show because they know not everybody watched it.
Well,
so they redid some of those beats for the movie.
But
is one problem.
Hideo Kojima even came out and gave his little review. He's like, I feel like I was missing stuff. He's like, I didn't watch the show, so I felt like I was missing something. Like, when did he like not want the shield, and when he did want the shield? Okay. So Kojima was completely thrown off because he didn't watch the show.
So that's fair. But I just felt like they were redoing some of the stuff from the show for
just in case you didn't watch it, you can understand who the other gentleman is there, the one of these super soldiers from back in the day.
But also there were times, because that's what he dealt with in the show, right? Mm-hmm. Like his almost like survivor guilt. Why did Cap choose me to take on the mantle? And like also dealing with the fact that like you're a black Captain America in this world.
Also not a super soldier.
Yeah. Not a super soldier, right? But like also the way that people like that black soldiers in the past were treated and so on. Okay. So then I felt like this movie like wanted to touch on it at times. They even did the one thing, this is a spoiler, not really, I won't really spoil it. There's a conversation with a character where they're like, hey, Cap, come help us do this thing. And he was like, I will show up. I'm kind of reluctant to do it, but let's do it. So he goes in the room and he's like, I have a voice in the room. They even talk about it. I'm going to partner with him because I want to be the voice in the room. And then all of a sudden, like 1 second later, that guy's like, you don't matter. You have no voice here. Just sit down, little
Steve
boy.
Steve Rogers is the voice is it the quote in the trailer? Yeah.
Right. And it's like that stuff I actually think would have been good and would have been fine,
Yeah.
and they like wanted to touch on it, but then all of a sudden, every time they had a chance to tackle it, they backed away from it, which I found more
Not
irritating.
only do they back away because they want to do their Hulk cameos. Because the
Yeah.
leader, who is like the main villain in this, is from the Incredible Hulk movie. At the very end of the movie, the end credit teaser, you see the one gentleman from Oh Brother Where Art Thou. His head's kind of like bulging because he got the kind of gamma rays in his head. He's supposed to become the leader. He's a very smart person. Statistics and everything, he's really good at that. Which is kind of what they do for the show, or the movie. But you have that, and you also have Red Hulk involved, and then you also have the fact of what's going on in the world from what happened in Eternals, when that big fucking Eternal came up from the ground, and now they found out that is going to be the source of this MCU's adamantium, and everyone is fighting over it. They make lame claim for it. Like, the Japanese think it's theirs because it's closer to, I guess, their shores, but, America's, obviously Harrison Ford's like, if anyone's going to have that shit, it's going to be us. And they're trying to do, like, a peace treaty of, like, everyone can share it, but that's being thrown off by the leader who wants to cause chaos. I felt that because they wanted to add the leader and the Red Hulk and this Eternals and stuff happening in this movie as well, they completely swerved and missed the parts of that would have been a good Captain America movie, because it's called fucking Captain America.
Right.
Like, I understand he's working with the government and how they're going to deal with the whole, that situation and the adamantium. I kind of get that, right? He's Captain America. He's going to be trying to help out the government here and there because he's, America's in the name, right? But he also has, his ideas of what he thinks is right, and he can go against the government if he wants to. That's what made Captain America so great. But I just felt they kept on shoehorning in all those oh, here's the thing from Hulk 2, or we're going to focus on the leader, or we're going to focus on Red Hulk and Harrison Ford's character. It's you guys are doing too much. It's the exact issue we had with Spider-Man 3, the original one, where you just have too many extra things in there that you want to get in there and shove in and make this tight little package, when you could just let's have Captain America, the Sam Wilson version of it, and have one of his villains. I thought Giancarlo was a great Captain America villain for Sam Wilson's version, because of the fact he's more of grounded. He's not a super soldier. He's a part of his Hydra-like group, but he's a badass assassin. That would be a perfect stage villain, which is the kind of what they used it for. But give me some more of that Captain America world rather than it's MCU and it happens we want to put Captain America's name on it. That was just disappointing to me. That was the part. Other than that, I do like the Captain America parts of it, but it just felt too disjointed, and it didn't feel like enough Captain America to me for a Captain America movie.
Yeah. So I agree. There wasn't enough Captain America for Captain America movie. They did try to do too much. I actually didn't like the leader. It's not somebody that I knew, right? And I think everybody likes villains better.
He's a very
although we're getting to the point now where you've done all the villains people know.
He's a Hulk villain.
So I didn't like the leader, but I didn't like him just because I didn't think he was well written, and he I get it, I know statistics.
He just pulls the statistics out of his ass and
it was
70% chance he would have came here. Oh, what's right?
It's just I know it's that stuff just never works well, and it the only reason it works is because you're, as a writer, relying on the fact that your audience is okay with people not talking to each other. Legitimately, that's why it works, because Japan and the US, even though we're trying to do this treaty, don't talk to each other. And that's just frustrating. So I didn't like him as a villain. The actor's fine. I just like him as a villain.
Can I just interject really quick?
Yeah.
Again, there was a moment there. I love you both very dearly. There was a moment there where I realized I had actually left my body, and I came back.
It's like me in sports talk. Yeah.
Right. I came back and I was like, wow, I actually was gone.
Amazing.
The idea that there is a Marvel movie that has a villain whose main villain prowess, or whatever part that they're gonna do in this movie, is I know statistics. Is
because he can plan things out and get you where he wants you to make the chess pieces move where he wants to go. I
definitely get it. I definitely get it. I definitely get it. What I'm saying
statistics
here
at the end of the day
is that is the most bottom of the barrel bullshit I have ever heard in my life. How you guys did not just stand up and boo at the screen is I'll never understand. I know I hit the burnout for this stuff way more earlier than the average person, and take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But like, I'm at the point now, like and a better idea for this movie in my head, like, would be like, you know what, fuck this. What do you give Anthony Mackie the serum, have him get absolutely shredded, and then I want him going punch to punch with Harrison Ford's Red Hulk, and have them punch each other's fists so hard that a shockwave comes off and windows shatter.
Well,
that
Christian,
sounds cool.
You don't need to do that because he has vibranium wings from Wakanda as a gift from Wakandans. So therefore, the Red Hulk can punch him all he wants, and he can do the whole explosion thing, just like you want. Just
no,
not
but
with
he
his
can't,
fist.
because if he punches his hand, Anthony Mackie explodes and gets gibbed.
Or not.
Yeah. But the reason they did so shitty with that villain is because the real villain is the Red Hulk, right? Who we know.
Well, the leader is the real villain because he gets Harrison Ford to like take these pills for his heart, but they're really the gamma poison, and it just so happens he puts himself.
But nobody
in
came to see the leader. Nobody came to see the leader. Everybody came to see
for sure.
the Red Hulk, right? And then they give you like 5 minutes of the Red Hulk, which is ridiculous because you're like, 5-minute Harrison Ford playing this role. How long can he do it? It's like, I don't know. He's CG. Like, I get he's 90, but he's CG.
No,
he could do it for.
You don't care. You have him go like this for a second.
2-hour movie, like
yeah.
Right. So like, give people what they want. Like, it was frustrating, and then the CG at the end was like terrible.
So.
Bad.
I was watching it and I was looking out for it. I know exactly what they did. You want to know what they did, Alex? It's their over fucking use and their over like, what would you call it? Like their over dependency on the vault. Because you can see it every time they fucking do it. The lighting's off and everything. They're using the vault way too much for these giant open spaces. You can do them here and there, but they don't have anywhere to go when they're in the vault. They have that. The vault is this big giant hockey puck studio where they use the Unreal Engine to like project or use LED like walls to like put the scene where they're at and where the camera's at. It helps focus. Like everything they're using is very cool technology. They did it for most of Mandalorian, to where like they can put them in these cool scenarios, but the characters can't walk very far. They can't move very far out of this like hockey puck of a studio that they have. It's not like a giant thing that you've seen to where it's like they got buildings and stuff built. No, it's low ceiling. And they can put some stuff on the floor, but mostly it's just projection of what they want in the background, which doesn't always look horrible, but you can super tell every single time they did it in this movie because the lighting was just slightly off. I don't know what they did.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
You can just see
that
it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Because anytime they did like a zoom out to where it was like Captain and Falcon were going against like the jets, or when it was like them doing like further like large distances of CG, like as far as like the space, it looked much better. But as soon as you had like just him and the Hulk, or just him standing there talking, 100% is the vault. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does. It
because
did.
they're like, this is real simple. We don't have to do on location. We don't have to do any of this. We just throw Anthony Mackie in the suit, put him in the middle of this hockey puck thing, and just put the projection of what we want in the world around him. I'm like, that doesn't look good, especially for an MCU movie. A show, completely get, right? You're trying to save yourself some money. But a movie, like a main like tentpole movie, I'm curious to see the Thunderbolts because I'm hoping they don't do any of that kind of shit with the Thunderbolts all day.
I'm sure they will.
They will.
Now that you say that, yeah.
They will. But I hope they don't. As much, at least. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, it's a very meh movie. I liked some of the Captain America stuff they did. Harrison Ford does a great job. All the actors do a great job. I love the new Falcon guy who's been there a couple times. I forget his name. I feel bad for it, but essentially the new Falcon is nice to see.
He was good too. My only thing that I think is goofy about that, and I don't know what you do about it, is the fact that since Sam still relies so much on his wings and not a shield, you just have two Falcons flying around.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is. So
but he was good. Like I
very
didn't
good.
like him.
I guess I don't understand. Like, is there a downside to the serum?
It depends.
No,
because they don't have like a perfect version of the super soldier serum, right? Like it's like even U.S. Agent got some of that, but it was like a bootleg version of the super soldier serum. I don't think there actually exists like a super soldier serum that's there for anyone to use whenever they want to. Like it's something that was lost to time. So they keep on trying to remake it, but it always has a side effect. So U.S. Agent in the show would get overly angry. Like he'd end up killing somebody with the Captain America uniform on. It got him like in big trouble. So it's there's downfalls to it, but not the original super soldier serum.
And they do talk about that in the
show.
Captain America or Falcon Winter Soldier, whatever. They do talk about that. There's a reason, and Preston, I think, I think that's why. It's also one of those weird things where, like, he wanted to be captain on his own merits.
To prove himself,
sort of thing, and it's...
Captain America without
Yeah, but Captain America wasn't Captain America on his own merits.
No, but he's also a very tiny person, wasn't, like, a fit army person without the serum.
Look, man, I'm not debating you.
I know, I'm not saying you are.
I think it'd be very cool if he took the serum too, but he's making it a point to not.
I just don't. I just feel like that's not as interesting of a plot point as they think.
And also, like I said, it's not something that is readily available for him just to inject whenever he's ready. That is something that was lost. That formula is lost.
That's fine. I guess it's just I think it would be way cooler if they just happened upon like extra dose that nobody knew about that was just hanging out.
Or they make a version of it. This new
Captain America. Yeah. Now this new Captain America is just as jacked and just as strong, but also fucking flies. Like, whatever. I don't know.
He does a lot of cool shit with the flying. Like they make him look very cool even without the super soldier serum. So
it's this, and then it's like I see like the new trailer for the new Superman shit, and I'm just like, God, throw me off a building. Like I don't know. I can't anymore.
I think the Superman looks really good, but yeah, that's another story for another day. But yeah, no, I thought it was fine, but it definitely is. It's not as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as like the newer ones, like Multiverse of Madness or the new Spider-Man.
Well, I'm glad to see that you and Alex gave it the same rating, which is you give it a fine and Alex says it sucks, which checks out about between the two of you.
Yeah, that's usually what happens, right?
We are consistent, if anything.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, that's it. Nothing really much to add to that other than I'm curious to see what Thunderbolts looks like.
Yeah, honestly, the Thunderbolts I think was more interesting than
are they ever
the movie.
Is Winter Soldier slated to do anything cool?
Well, spoiler alert, he does show up. He doesn't fight or anything like that, but yes, Thunderbolts.
Alex told me he's there for 5 minutes.
Thunderbolts, he is one of the main characters of the Thunderbolts.
So we're gonna see him punch somebody with his metal arm.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. All right, right on.
Yeah, he'll be the Sentry, but yeah.
There's even a part, Christian, if you watch really close in the trailer, where he washes his metal arm in the dishwasher.
Pulls her out of the dishwasher.
That's some of that patented Marvel humor you just can't get anywhere else.
This is what I did want to bring up. I did appreciate, however, with Captain America, it wasn't super fucking quippy. Like, I didn't feel like they shoehorned jokes in just to shoehorn jokes in. I feel like it was Sam Wilson / Anthony Mackie sometimes being himself, having a little fun joke here and there, but it didn't seem overused like most of the Marvel movies nowadays, which I really appreciated. They took itself a little bit more seriously outside of a guy with a throbbing head.
That's phrasing.
That's it. That's my week.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us this week. Don't forget to tune in later this week as we dive into our part 2.
Nope.
Yeah? No, part 1. Nope. We're starting a new game. Yeah. Part 1. There we go. So don't forget to tune in this week as for our first part of Christian's pick, which is Metal Gear Solid. Right? We're going through that series. So as always, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. And we will catch you later. And I can't wait to hear what Jake has to comment on
Part 2.
Our comments on Castlevania, because I'm sure he's going to have a lot by the next time we get together. So with that, Preston, you know what to do. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.